Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
Joey Mercury was an integral fourth member of the Shield. Joey Mercury had quite a successful career in WWE on his own as a former star of the Cruiserweight division, but he has been a much more integral role in WWE's storylines as a backstage member of their creative team. Seth Rollins revealed on Table for Three that Joey Mercury was basically an honorary fourth member of the Shield and one of the biggest reasons for their success. All three members of the iconic faction stated that they miss Mercury and the impact he once had on their WWE careers, so a lot of the Shield's success was down to the former tag team champion who was released from WWE back in January this year but has since made a return to the independent circuit. Roman Reigns shared the story as part of WWE Ride-Along where he went to visit Ambrose and was being given the tour of his new house when his pet bulldog Blue came from out of nowhere and tried to eat Roman's feet. Roman stated that he was wearing socks at the time but it seemed that the dog was out for skin. When Roman saw Blue backstage at Raw with Renee a few weeks later he didn't seem to be as bad, so Roman just put it down to his first impression of the dog being a bad one. The trio had no idea what they were doing. Dean Ambrose shockingly confessed that he thought all of the promos that he cut while he was part of the Shield were rubbish. He stated that he, Reigns and Rollins had no idea what they were doing most of the time they were in the Shield and this came through in their promos because they had no idea what they were saying either. Since the Shield split the trio has definitely changed both physically and mentally. But Dean Ambrose is the one who changed the most. Dean used to have much longer hair, but his bangs have slowly begun to disappear, to the point where Ambrose himself is now scared that he is getting bald patches in his hair. Ambrose told Seth and Roman the story where he was so worried that he bought thickening shampoo in the hope that it would help his hair, but instead he said he checked a few hours later and his chest hair was much thicker than it was before. Roman joked that the shampoo must have run down and worked on his chest hair instead, and the mystery of why Ambrose wrestles with a shirt on is now resolved. Rollins is always the one who drives the Shield around. Ambrose is obsessed with sandwiches. Dean Ambrose has had some strange obsessions over the past few years, but one of the funniest things that Ambrose revealed as part of Table for Three was his sandwich obsession. Roman and Seth recalled how Ambrose would always walk into catering and despite how great the food was that the company had prepared, Ambrose would still head over and make himself a sandwich. All three men hated the debut turtleneck sweaters. Rollins was scared of doing promos alone after the split. Roman Reigns recalled that during the Shield days they would just let Ambrose cut all the promos and Reigns would be there to beat people up. Rollins had become so used to having Reigns and Ambrose by his side when he was part of the Shield that when he was put into the ring on his own and left to cut a promo he felt quite odd. Rollins didn't tell Ambrose that he was cashing in his Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins shocked the WWE Universe when he cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase back at WrestleMania 31 and he managed to shock a number of his close friends as well since he didn't tell anyone before it actually happened. Reigns and Ambrose tried to replace Rollins with Bo Dallas. As already mentioned, Seth Rollins was the chauffeur for the Shield the entire time they were together between 2012 and 2014, but when they split up on WWE TV, in order to keep with kayfabe, the trio was no longer allowed to travel together. This meant that Reigns and Ambrose had to find a new person to drive them around moving forward, and Ambrose recalled that Bo Dallas volunteered. Just to prove that Reigns and Ambrose are pretty much lost without Rollins, the former world champion stated that the first night that Reigns and Ambrose had to travel without him, He drove past them at the side of the road because Bo had somehow forgotten to fill up the car and they had run out of gas.